Good afternoon, Mr. Sablan. Before I ask you to raise your hand and take an oath, just a few things to note. Before you do that, the microphone in front of you has a button that says talk. If you're going to respond, please push that button. When you see the light on the mic turn on, that means your mic is on. So, and secondly, and when you're done, you can just press that same button and it will turn the mic off. So, secondly, if you have any cell phones on you, please turn it off. And the members will ask that you not, interrupt the hearing by, answering or texting or what. So with that, thank you for your appearance today. I will put you under oath, and then you will state your name, your title, and the agency you represent. Okay, so please raise your right hand. Can you press the mic? Thank you. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of law that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You can put down your hand. Can you now introduce yourself, your name, your title, and the agency you represent?
My name is Herman Sablan. I'm the Director of the Procurement and Supply under the Department of Finance.
Thank you very much. Can I ask your counsel to please also identify himself?
I am James Carney, Assistant Attorney General. I'm representing Mr. Sablan, as I've been counsel for Procurement and Supply.
Thank you both. First, for Mr. Sablan, do you understand why you have been asked to appear before this body?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. The testimony that you're going to be asked questions is related to the sole source contract that was executed between the CNMI government and Saipan Development LLC. I guess the first question was, are you aware of this contract?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. For my own understanding, I'm not completely aware of all the details or in the process of procurement and supply. Does a sole source contract have to be approved by your office?
Yes, sir.
Approved or just reviewed?
Review and approve.
Okay. So you did review it, and I don't think I recall your signature on the contract, so I don't know if you had to approve it.
That's probably a copy of the contract, but if it's the original, my signature should be on there.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. Mr. Sablan, because you are kind of the authority on any contract really that has to do with procuring a service or materials, with any contract, I guess my question is, normally most contracts are required to go through either a bidding process or a request for proposal, normally?
Yes, all government procurement should be without, except when it is justified to go under the sole source, emergency, or expedited procurement.
Okay. Maybe you can pull the mic closer because I'm having difficulty hearing everything you're saying. But so thank you for that clarification. Can you just explain to the committee under what circumstances are sole source contracts allowed?
Well, if the expenditure authority justifies, justifies the sole source, then I will review it, and if I accept it, I approve it, and the contract gets routed to finance and accounting for fund certification, and then from there goes up to the Attorney General, and then from the Attorney General to the government, and then back to my office for completion of the contract.
James, can I just call you James, Mr.
Carney, you can call me James, that's fine.
Corney?
Yeah.
James, would you want to clarify that?
Yeah, there are the procurement regs, and neither of us have them in front of us right now, but they're available. Sort of spell out exactly the situations where a sole source contract is allowed. For the most part, they are when there's some sort of emergency, or when the regulations talk about hardening the infrastructure or something like that, talking about basically also an emergency. And then there are certain circumstances which are non-emergencies, but for practical purposes, this particular vendor would be the only ones available, which happens not infrequently because of the geographical reality of Saipan. There's only so many engineers or whatever who are capable of doing a particular type of work, so they are the only ones who have the certification to do it. So really, that's enough of a justification for sole source. But that's what it's put down in the procurement regulations.
Thank you. That's kind of the question I was asking is, and I was under what circumstances, what do the regs say about, I'm sure the prescription is very clear and very specific, and you just kind of attempted to answer that by saying normally under emergency conditions, or if there is a strong need, but the expertise may not be available, or the qualification, if you will, may not be available, and you have one company that is qualified in those cases. And I'm sure there are more detailed regulations that make it more specific. And if I may ask, under this, we are talking about a specific contract, and that is for the construction of a power purchase agreement facility, a 50-megawatt plant. I just wanted to ask, perhaps you can give us some understanding of what the basis was for the approval of this contract. Under what regulations, I guess, or what criteria?
I am not involved in that procurement, Mr. Chairman.
Can you repeat that, please?
I am not involved in that particular procurement. COC have their own procurement regulations.
Can you clarify that, Counsel?
Yeah, COC has their own procurement regulations, and I am not involved in that particular procurement.
Yeah, I think there was maybe a misunderstanding. This particular contract did not go through procurement and supply. So, am I mistaken?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was no review of this particular contract by Mr. Sablan or myself for whether it met the requirements to meet those standards for the sole source procurement.
Thank you. And before I recognize any others, just a follow-up to that, and thank you for making that clarification, Mr. James and Mr. Sablan, because earlier it was my understanding and our understanding that he did review and did approve, and that sole source contracts do require his approval. And I think the difference here is that this contract is a CUC contract, correct?
That's
and
correct.
CUC does have their own procurement regs. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And for that purpose, procurement and supply was not in the loop, so to speak, is not a signator or an approving authority or a reviewing authority for that matter. Is that a fair statement?
That is correct, sir.
I also think that's true. CUC more or less does its own procurement. I also think that perhaps, and I'm not sure about this, so this is not a definitive answer, but I believe that because there was an emergency, the CUC was put in an emergency, that also exempted, even if it wasn't CUC, it sort of exempted it from the normal regulations.
And sir, you are referring to the emergency declaration?
Yes,
Thank you.
but I was not very involved in the issue, but I think that was part of what was going on.
Thank you. For all intents and purposes, procurement and supply did not review this contract, was not a signator to the contract.
That is correct.
Thank you. I now open it up. Mr. Del Cruz, do you have a question?
Chair, I believe that has been clarified. I myself also thought I overheard Mr. Sablan stating that he had approved such a PPA agreement contract, but now he has clarified that he wasn't a party to this particular contract agreement between CUC and Saipan Development.
Mr. Chairman, my division takes care of the executive branch. I don't take care of the other branches or agencies.
Or autonomous agencies, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you very much, sir.
Chair, since I still have the floor.
Yes, you do. And then after you finish, Representative Sablan will follow.
Thank you. Mr. Sablan, through your own personal experience, did you have any knowledge with regards to this power purchase agreement that was to take place?
No, not at all.
Okay. Did you do know that CUC was and still is under an executive declaration?
No.
And basically, I just wanted to touch on the executive declaration or the executive order. What that basically does is it removes any and all CUC regulatory powers, and the executive branch, in this case the governor, becomes in full control of CUC, whether it be procurement regulations at CUC and so forth. But I just wanted to state that the executive order does not include any purchase of a new diesel power plant that is under emergency, and I just wanted to state that for your privy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Representative Sablan. We'll keep it short. I think we're ready. I did say Representative Sablan. Representative Sablan, you now have the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's made perfectly clear that Mr. Sablan and Procurement Supply Office was not involved in the sole source contract that we are reviewing today. I just don't see any further reason why we should have them here. And I guess for expediency, again, as I've stated the other day, I asked that we dismiss Mr. Sablan and move on to the next witness.
No objection.
No further objection? Just a moment, please. Mr. Sablan, before we dismiss you, the power purchase agreement was a sole source contract in itself, but there were other agreements that were also signed by the Commonwealth government. Do you know there is a power plant development and maintenance agreement? We just want to clarify for the record if such an agreement was routed to your division for review and approval.
No, sir.
Consul, do you attest to that?
I have no personal information. I never saw it.
Okay, one last question. Was any of the agreements that have been consummated been routed through the Division of Procurement associated with the power purchase agreement? There are other agreements. We want to establish that they either were or they were not routed through procurement and supply.
No, Mr. Chairman. I only know about that issue from the newspaper.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Did anybody else have anything before I dismiss the witness? If not, Mr. Sablan, I want to thank you so much for your patience, for your attendance, and for your cooperation. And likewise, Mr. Corney, thank you very much. You two, you are hereby dismissed, or rather, dismissed. Should the committee wish to pose any further questions, you may be asked to reappear before this committee. Please leave your contact number with our Sergeant at Arms before you leave. Thank you very much again, and have a nice day.
Thank you.